Hello, listeners, and welcome to the latest version of the AdQuick Advertising Podcast, a podcast that explores the intersection of technology, marketing, content, all of the things that you care about. Today, we have a special guest. We have Barry Schwartz. Barry is an OG internet marketer and entrepreneur. He practically built the search marketing space on the publication side and also just being a practitioner. He's a great guy. He runs a firm called Rusty Brick, a New York web services firm, and basically has been there, done that. We're lucky to have Barry with us on the show today. Barry, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. We've known each other for a long time now, and yeah, it was great to catch up with you. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah, and Barry, you're absolutely crushing it on YouTube. We were talking about before the show, and I was just saying it's great to see. In my mind, really just strong internet entrepreneurs kind of have a presence against the backdrop of like all of these people in our space who are selling, build a brand quickly or get rich quick. And it seems like it's like a positive signal to me. It warms my heart to see someone like yourself just doing really well on a channel like YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've created a video every week, every Friday for the past almost 20 years. I think it's like 19 years now. And I couldn't like go above like 25. I've been slowly gaining new subscribers. Not early this year, like maybe late last year, it was like 29,000 subscribers. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, like you said, you see all this snake oil stuff, people sell, how to be number one on Google or how to hack, your way up to the top position on Google Local or whatever it might be. And truth is, it's just flashy videos that really don't have the truth. And I'm like, I'm telling the truth every week. Why are people not subscribing? And I'm like, the thing is, I'm telling the truth. So I hired a YouTube consultant actually, and he gave me some tips. Tips was very simple. Make sure your YouTube thumbnail has your face, eyes wide open, teeth like this, or something like that, and a very short, like big font, like 2 words or 3 words max of what the topic covers, and make sure it's catchy. And then he gave me some like tips on like headlines and then like how to like make your intro really engaging. So I keep my Friday videos. I do these daily, like it's new video with like a bunch of people in the community, which is a lot of fun for me, but it doesn't get as many viewerships. But then I'm making these like one-off random videos when something big happens, like a Google update or like a big Google update, or maybe like this Google I/O announcement with AI mode and so forth. So I'm making these really big videos on one topic. The big videos on one topic tend to do pretty well. They get maybe, 4 times, 3 times, 5 times the amount of views and more engagement and so forth than my other videos. But it still wasn't getting me that many subscribers. Maybe it was getting me 5 times, 10 times the amount of subscribers. So I'm like, all right. So he's like, maybe try YouTube ads on YouTube. And it's very simple. You click on promotions when you upload a video. You say audience growth, and you put your budget in. So I put my budget in, and I literally got like 100,000 subscribers in probably about a month after that. And I paid for it. And I got my YouTube button, plaque, whatever. But it's bought. It's not because I'm telling the truth or doing well. It's because I paid YouTube for those ads. It's funny, when at I/O, I saw the YouTube liaison there, talked to some guy. I walked over. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I worked with Danny Sullivan, the search liaison back in the day. Now he's, sold out and now works at Google. I'm joking. And I know you probably don't know me, but basically I was stuck at 20-something thousand subscribers for, 19 years. And then I cheated and I used YouTube ads. He's like, that's not cheating. I'm like, it feels like cheating. He's like, no, that's what it's there for. I'm like, it's there for me to buy my way to get more subscribers. He's like, that's what it's designed for. I'm like, okay, so I didn't cheat. I'm like, it feels like cheating. So it feels like cheating. Honestly, I felt like I cheated. Just to be honest, and I'm an honest guy, I feel like I cheated my way to get that 100,000 subscribers.
Well, Barry, you're on an advertiser podcast, so no one listening thinks you're cheating. Everyone is probably rushing to buy more YouTube ads after hearing that ringing endorsement.
I don't think they should, because just so you know, the only videos that get engaged or get subscribers are the ones that I'm promoting, and the ones that subscribe aren't really watching my other videos, the ones that I'm not promoting.
Yeah, you're
the subscribers are like sticking and engaging with my other videos. It just buying you subscribers.
You're kind of always at the whim of the YouTube algorithm now, in the same way that everyone is kind of at the whim of every social media algorithm. Because, I think, to your point, the people who subscribed organically are probably the type who actually go and want to watch all of the videos on that channel, versus the people who are maybe acquired fast, cheap, versus someone who's like, oh yeah, Barry Schwartz, got to hear everything he says on the sector. Those are like much higher trust subscribers who you've built a little permission with first. And, hopefully the people you brought in through ads, you can nurture along. They are recommended a few of your videos in their suggested feed, because now they're subscribed to you and that's a signal. But, there's a healthy mix, right? There's nothing wrong with doing ads to grow a following count or a brand. The same thing with buying customers through any ads. If they're cold and they come in and they don't know you, you still have to build trust with them, right?
I guess, but the only way for me to build trust with them is for them to watch my next video, and they're not. I think the issue is, this is what I'm being told, that when you use YouTube ads in some regions, there are what's called like fake engagement, like you buy them from other platforms, and the people that you're buying like subscribers on, let's say on Fiverr or whatever platform, they are also clicking on videos that are promoted on the right-hand side to make it look more natural. So they're basically subscribing to a bunch of YouTube channels that they're getting paid to subscribe to, which is against Google's policies and YouTube's policies, but they're also subscribing to other videos naturally. And what they see in the other videos are the ones that are promoted on the right-hand side, which is videos that are being promoted by YouTube. So these same people, these same click farms that are subscriber farms, whatever you want to call them, that are subscribing to channels being paid to do that, are also subscribing to natural channels. But they're still click farms that are not real people subscribing. And I think that's the issue. I think the issue is that I promoted India. I reached out to certain regions like in India and other regions, but there's a huge SEO and search marketing following in India. They're all over the place there, and they do amazing work. So I figured I should match those that are reading my website with my YouTube ads. And I think that may have been a mistake. I'm testing right now, excluding India, just doing US, UK, Canada, and stuff like that to see if it makes a huge difference. And I'll keep you posted on the next time you get me on the show.
Yeah. And, as you were talking and, mentioning, you want to reach people in India, you want to reach your subscribers, you want to reach, people who follow you on social. To me, how I'm wrangling the internet now, and my number one traffic source for most things I do, is just email. Like, it's not held hostage by algos. It doesn't matter how many followers I have. And like, I would hope when you publish a video, you also, share it with the list that subscribe to Search Engine Roundtable and whatnot that you have. And it's really, I think whatever, as a publisher, as a company, as an individual, whatever you can do to not have distribution held at the whim of big tech, I think is a win for you. And then you can kind of ignore all of the other like engagement numbers, because you're reaching people, right?
Right. So that's exactly, people are asking, what's your number one SEO piece of advice? And like, how do I do better on SEO? I'm like, you don't. When you do well on SEO and you get a lot of traffic, make sure to convert that traffic into other ways to make sure that you get their emails, whatever you can get about them, so that you could actually continue to engage with them in the future, because that SEO traffic may just disappear, overnight. And you need to make sure to capture whatever mechanism, have them subscribe to your newsletter, give them your email address, download a white paper, subscribe to your YouTube channel, social media, anything to engage with them on other platforms, because Google could disappear in a minute. And I think that's exactly what you said. I think that's a great, mechanism, is make sure you are capturing their information so you have other ways to distribute content to them or your message to them in any other platform.
So yeah, this brings us to the next topic I wanted to discuss, which of course we have to discuss search. And I don't know about your personal habits, but in a post ChatGPT world, some of my habits are changing and others aren't. And so what's really interesting to me is I still use Google for navigational queries. I still use Google, especially maps, when I'm searching for restaurants. I search YouTube all the time for videos. But I find what I'm not using Google for anymore are things like finding a recipe of how to make a certain dish. And the reason, and things like that, and the reason I'm not using Google isn't because the results weren't good, but there's no web spam. So I think all of these recipe sites and all these made for search sites kind of overplayed their hand and were like, well, screw the user experience. We're just going to try and make as much money as we can off this traffic. And you have to have pop-ups and scroll past all these irrelevant ads to get to the recipe. And now in a ChatGPT and AI world, and even Google's built product, Gemini, that you can basically skip all of the search. I feel like this is there've always been stages in search where people are like, it's over. But I legitimately think for a certain type of website and internet company, if you didn't adapt or didn't build a list, it is over, right? Is this something that you're feeling too?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing every SEO is out there saying this. The new up is flat, meaning if you're not seeing your traffic from Google search decreasing, that means you're doing a great job. The problem is now with these AI overviews in Google search, where Google's basically giving the answer and you can like read the answer, people aren't clicking so much. So you see in like Google gives you this thing called Google Search Console, and they gives you these performance reports that basically show you how much traffic Google is sending to your website. The cool thing is they show you impressions, like how many times Google is showing your website in Google search for a certain query, as well as how many people are clicking through, plus a lot of other metrics. What people are noticing now is that maybe the impressions are staying the same or going up because AI overviews could have a lot more sources in them. You could have, instead of like the top, it's not going to show you only 10 results on the page. AI overviews could have, dozens of, or 30, 50, sources in one AI overview. And all those are considered position number one, which is nuts. So basically your site could show up in Google search on page one, in position one, because it's an AI overview. So you're getting a lot of impressions from Google search, but nobody's clicking. So you're seeing while you're getting a lot of impressions and Google's showing your site a lot in search, the clicks are going down. You're like, what the heck? I'm getting more people are seeing my stuff. Where are my clicks? So you're right. Google search seems to be sending publishers and website owners a lot less traffic overall than it used to, which has been going on for a while, but now has been escalated significantly with AI overviews. And you have to convert that traffic into other means. So email is the number one. I mean, having their email address, cell phone number, so you could text spam them, whatever you're doing, that type of stuff is very, very important. And you need to capture all that while you're able to capture, them on your website.
And for the recipe example, another thing I've been thinking about is for a while, everyone was talking about the intersection of search and social, but it was more this, do social media because it's a signal for search and maybe you'll get more links. And I actually feel like that intersection is real now because the recipe bloggers and chefs online that I still follow have great YouTube videos, have, TikTok videos, have short form videos, and they're a personality. And now I still follow them for their recipes and I get, ideas from them and inspiration because of the person more so than, okay, here's just this content in the abstraction. So I'm like very bullish on, I mentioned search and social intersection. I'm bullish all these internet companies that have a human behind it, because now there's like a real reason I want to go back to them versus, okay, this website had good recipes. And I think that applies to a lot of things and a lot of companies. Like, I think the SEO industry in particular was very guilty of trying to abstract people away and just have this, these internet products or these content products where you never knew anything about the site. You came, it was transactional, you bought the t-shirt, you did the thing and left. And I almost feel like it's not enough in the modern age of the internet. And this might not be bad. It might get us back to like a more human-centric form of marketing, which is something we've been talking a lot about since we sell billboards. Any thoughts on that?
It's funny. You're talking about like a more human-centric approach and we're having AI take over everything. It's just somewhat funny and ironic, but no, you kind of are right. So SEO in the early days, when I guess we first met, was basically SEO is just building content and links to websites to basically generate traffic from Google to make a transaction. That transaction could be buying something through an affiliate site or an e-commerce site, or downloading something or injecting them with malware so you can, harass them going forward. SEO really after like the Panda days, which was basically Google algorithm update back in 2010 or so, where people were just basically spamming Google with low quality content. Google really took an algorithmic approach to actually improving those results. And SEO is like, oh, wow, people really want good content. So SEOs then created great content. Although, like you said, For some recipe sites, that meant not just telling you the recipe, but telling you the whole family history on the recipe. And people don't really want that fluff. I hated that. When I write stories, people like call me out, Barry, why you for the past 20 years, Barry, why are you writing such short stories when Google likes long pieces of content? I'm like, I'm writing for you. You don't want to be sitting there reading about my family history every single time I'm writing about a title tag in Google search. You want to get to the information. And, I try to keep it short because my time is valuable and your time is valuable. And everyone's like, I don't care. You should want to rank. I'm like, I don't care. Google will figure out what your rank in the future, and it may take them a long time. And you saw that with recipe sites, and that's the reason you're going to Gemini is because you don't want to get all that fluff. You just want to get to the answer. I see the opposite effect when you do certain types of searches in Gemini or ask it to do certain things. It gives you a lot of fluff. Like when I've been testing like over the past few years with the announcement of ChatGPT. Could you write this better for me? Like, so you take, write a piece of content for me that I would write. And it really makes a lot of fluff. And this doesn't sound like me. I get to the point. And even if I tell you to get to the point, you're not. I think this stuff will get better, but I do think that search, I know Sundar Pichai says this and everybody's like, he's a liar. And everybody's saying in Google, nobody really trusts that. But I think different avenues have different purposes. I think Google search will have its purpose. I think, AI mode, I think Gemini, I think ChatGPT, I think, all these things, even this agentic experience where people are buying through AI agents, I think still people will go to stores. I think still people will go to e-commerce sites that they love. People will still go to Google Shopping and Amazon, and people will then, use ChatGPT or Google's Gemini to actually buy product as well. So I think you're going to see all of that. And I think the best SEOs have adapted over. I know so many SEOs are not an SEO anymore because they couldn't adapt. But the best SEOs have been adapting. They've been improving their content. When Panda came out, they've been, when links got targeted, they moved on to something else. They've been thinking about branding ever since the zero, click stuff has happening for the past 5 years with feature snippets and the ongoing, zero click thing. So SEOs have been thinking about diversification, have been thinking about other sources capturing emails and YouTube subscribers and so forth. And more importantly, figuring out how to be the brand. Like, again, you trust certain recipe bloggers initially because you found them through their blogs, but then they created YouTube channels and they have personalities and so forth. And I think like these videos or podcasts that we're doing, making, it's important to connect to your readers to show them that you're an honest person that they could trust. And I think that the best SEOs have been doing that for not just the past 2 years, but for the past, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. And as you were talking, I too think it's an additive world and search will exist alongside all of these AI tools. One other take that I've had and just been thinking about, I think AI is net good for us as users because I think it has to force Google to be better about serving us results. And so I think, and I say this having worked at Google, I think they probably have overstepped cramming, ads on every SERP. And I kind of think they're going to have to think a lot more deeply about that user experience because they don't want to risk losing people. So I think this is like net benefit to users and hopefully us marketers that Google will be more thoughtful about the user experience again. Because I know they run a billion A/B tests to get to where they are, but I feel like sometimes they need to take like a common sense approach to why are we doing this?
Yeah. I mean, now we're seeing you're right. They test everything and it's kind of annoying. I cover a lot of the tests. Like, in fact, when they launched universal search, I don't know if you remember that back in like 2006, 2007, I caught tests of Google. Like back in the old days, it was basically just 10 blue links. Literally, that's all you got. You just search, you got 10 blue links to 10 websites, and that's all you got. And then the new Google, back in 2006, 2007, Google came out with universal search, which incorporated like images and local results and videos. So if you did a search for something and you were like looking for a barbershop near me, which I obviously need, it would not just show you like links to 10 websites near you, but it would actually show you local results from Google Local back then, whatever it was called, Google Maps. So that was like astonishing. And that when I caught that test, like I got me on Brian Williams. I was back before his scandal on Channel 4, NBC News or whatever it was called back then, nightly news. So it got me on TV and covering these types of things was very useful because it helped again with branding of who I was and so forth. But Google's testing like crazy. Recently, they've been testing in the past couple of years, mixing search ads directly in the organic results. Like when you were at Google, that was like, absolutely not. Nobody at Google will ever mix ads in with the organic search results. You had ads at the top or on the side and maybe at the bottom. They were labeled. They used to be yellow. They really look different. But then Google removed the yellow. Now they're just kind of like shaded, have a little sponsored ad next to it. So you get kind of like a little label. And now Google's actually sticking them right in the middle of the results. So you don't know if they're ads or not. They have a little label on there. And yeah, people are distrusting Google more because it's hard to know what's what. Truth is, the ads are probably better than the organic results for many queries. That being said, we're starting to see AI ads in AI overviews. Google promised there'll be ads in AI mode. How Google will monetize agentic experiences, maybe it will be commission or some type of affiliate type. I don't know. Or maybe just be a click-based or order-based type of situation. I don't know. But Google will monetize everything that they can. As you know, it's a big company. They make a lot of money. And their core, 80+% of their revenue comes from search ads. So this whole AI evolution, which Liz Reed, Google's head of Google search, basically said is it's the future of search, AI mode. And they have to monetize that or else they're going to lose all their 80% of their revenue, which is huge.
Yeah. And one other trend that that I've been thinking about, and I'd love your take on, is I think the future could even be more bullish for organic SEO than advertisers. And here's why. I think there's a scenario where some of the highest value customers decide to just pay for an ad-free AI tool. I think and along with the ad-free AI tool, they're going to just use that and probably not use search as much. And the thing is a lot of those tools are still just querying the web. So I think this is a world where people who are really good at making sure their information is found, crawled, and discovered do really well. And in that world, maybe search has to double down on ads. And so that's just, something for SEM. But do you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about content and the future of, people are like, oh, SEOs are still important because fundamentally the only way the content gets into the AI answers on Google, Bing, ChatGPT is for those engines to actually find that content, index it, and then use it for their AI responses, which makes sense. But at the same time, is that content driving clicks or orders, or maybe different brands mentioned there a couple of times? Adam Singer is an expert in this and this and that. Reach out to him because he knows this stuff. Yeah, you'll probably get a phone call. But if it's just mentioning what content you're written and maybe says it's written by Adam Singer, or maybe somebody steals your content and then somebody else's brand goes up there, who knows? So I'm kind of skeptical on that. I'm also skeptical about, I think AI can write the original content in the future. I think AI could easily replace what I do. John Mueller said this, Sundar Pichai said that, this Googler did this. This is what was new, really written in a help documentation on the Google blog. I don't see why AI can't do what I'm doing. And eventually we saw VO3 from Google and all these new AI tools to create video. AI could generate really compelling and entertaining video content as well. So what everybody's like, oh, the AI will never be able to generate emotions and connect with people on a human basis and generate videos that really are connecting. And I saw some absolutely amazing VO3 videos that were really compelling. Obviously, humans help with the prompts, but you have different AI systems that create prompts for you and scripts and really help you connect. I don't know. I kind of disagree with people about AI not being able to create the content at a level at one point that could do better than humans. And I think one day, you and I were kind of older. I think our kids are going to have to figure out how to get a job in the future. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, people also like hearing those ideas from you. I think even if AI could curate Google as well as you, we would still want to read from Barry because of your human choices, the je ne sais quoi that the AI can't actually do. So Barry, you run an agency, and I'm willing to bet one of the top questions you get from clients or inbound leads is, help us be found or help us get traffic from ChatGPT. Do you get this question, and how do you answer it for clients or for prospects?
So that's interesting you asked that. I don't have an SEO. I don't do SEO services. My agency is a software development firm. We build software. We build stuff that usually is not front facing. Usually it's back end software to make companies really, really efficient, for them to be able to get more done with less people, or to get same amount done with fewer people so they could fire people. We build like back-end software for companies, web and mobile stuff, taxi cab software to hospital software, you name it. We've built it. Of course, I speak a lot about SEO. I write about SEO. People think I do SEO. I don't really sell SEO. I'll do like hourly phone calls with SEO teams at big companies so they can throw ideas off me. So when people come to me, can I do this? Can you help me with that? I'll be like, no, I'm sorry, I don't do that. I always felt bad selling something I don't have full control over, if that makes sense. So when you want to build something for software wise, we can come up with a spec and we can build it for you. We can even come up with new ideas like this will help you become more efficient by doing this and that. And it's basically selling something that you could deliver on 100%. If you don't deliver, the client's like, oh, you didn't deliver what you promised. When it comes to SEO, you're really promising rankings and traffic and conversions and so forth. And what if Google makes an update to their algorithm? What if Google changes the search results landscape to make it, from 10 blue links to universal search, from universal search to feature snippets to AI overviews? You're not getting the traffic. How do you deliver on that? Of course, you come up with like other mechanisms. I'm not knocking on the SEO industry, very important and so forth. But for me, I couldn't sell that type of service because I couldn't 100% guarantee delivery of those results. So of course, I understand this stuff really well. Somebody comes to me and says, I want to rank well in ChatGPT. At this point in time, you need to generate content that ChatGPT is able to index. And you want to make sure that content is written in a way that hopefully will be indexed and surfaced by those AI responses that kind of mention your brand in there. And I think a lot of these AI tools, especially Google, Gemini and so forth, because you hear some type of try saying we know it's important and so forth. I think a lot of them are thinking about ways to share that traffic with the publisher who's building that content, be it a website owner or a publisher or whatever it might be, and mention their brands as often as possible and maybe have a little link in there as well. So I think getting your name, your brand mentioned in these responses for the queries and questions that people are asking of those AI engines are very, very important. And you have to be playing with those, using it as you think your customers would use it. Look at your queries, ask, when you're speaking to the customers, maybe take notes and say, oh, this customer is asking me this question in a human voice. How could I go ahead and replicate that in ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT comes up with? Is ChatGPT showing a competitor? How can I make content on my website that matches that query that will hopefully, when it's indexed by ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, that my content can show up for that. And so that I'm not left out of the game. So it's about using those things, talking to your customers, querying those engines like you would with any Google search, but doing it in a way that maybe has a longer query path, maybe follow-up questions and so forth, so that you could be in those responses and so forth. And this stuff is changing so fast that what you might do today might not work tomorrow. But that's okay. Keep playing with it. And I think the more you play with it, the more you'll be able to understand the little differences between each variation as you go forward.
Yeah, and everything is changing really fast. You're one of the few people who was there during the .com boom. Does the AI boom feel similar to that? I've been on the ground in San Francisco, and the vibes are definitely, if not 99 vibes, more. It could be like the SaaS boom vibes. It kind of felt similar to me. I don't know what you're thinking here about that.
Yeah, so when I was like 15 or 16 years old, I worked at WebMD's competitor. So obviously the place I worked at is no longer around. WebMD is still around. So that .com boom was it was exciting times. Everybody was like, oh, the .com was more like, in terms of when you think of .com, was more like the stock stuff, like how much money can I make off of like Amazon back then, or any of these .coms that were like, was a pet.com? I don't know what they were. But the people in the technology space were like super excited to build stuff. It was like, oh, we could build this, we could build that. I remember, my brother and I own our company, Rusty Brick, and we're like, what can we build? And like, we're going to clients are asking for stuff. And I know my brother was like, I just want to build. You go out to the customers and, get them and sell. I'm like, okay, but what if they ask for something and I don't know if we could do it? He's like, we could do anything. I'm like, okay. So we were from building, simple like Chinese store restaurant website with a menu on it to building literally out like hospital administration software. Cause I said, yes, we could do it. And we did it. The stuff you could do back then was super exciting. And now we're in this new realm where AI, and I haven't seen things this exciting in a long time. Like since then, like you said, like I remember in the early days of Google search, it was exciting. It was Google search was doing some stuff that was like really amazing. And then like things were just like it was kind of boring, the same stuff over and over and over again. And now we're in this whole AI realm for the past couple of years, and that's now exciting to actually write about it again and to cover it. So I think across the .com boom, early days of Google search, now we're in this new realm of AI, and I think a lot of people are excited, not just the users of that software to use it, but also in terms of like developers and building stuff out with AI is super, super exciting in early stages.
Yeah, I think it's both exciting because we're doing all sorts of new things, and maybe for young people, a little terrifying. As people are entering the workforce, it's like companies are maybe looking at entry level content creation or coding and saying, you know what, we could just have AI do that. And I think there's probably something missing there because eventually you're not going to have any junior people. You can grow into senior people. But is there any advice you're giving younger people who are just starting out or entering the workforce, what to do here in an AI world? Is there anything different they have to do, or just build up, core skills?
That's a really hard. My oldest daughter started driving. So I had her drive back from her school, which is like, I don't know, probably 30 minutes away from the house. And she wanted to take home a couple friends. And they were talking and stuff like that. One's like, oh, I'm not going to go to college. And I'm like, my daughter, I'm like, you're definitely going to college. But I'm thinking to myself, like, what's it going to do for you? I mean, it depends on what you want to go for. But I mean, a lot of people are taking like, I have to go to vocational. So I have to become a plumber or electrician because, white collar jobs are just, might be replaced by, AI. So I don't really know. I'm just happy that, for us, at least, I'm towards the end of our career, not the beginning. Because I don't know what the future, early on, like in the .com boom, we knew what we had to do. We had to build software, we build code and build websites and so forth. Here, is it about building AI agents? Like, is that what you have to do? Do you have to be an AI engineer? Do you have to be a prompt engineer? Is that what they need to learn? Of course, in high school, you just got to learn the basics and so forth. College, I think we'll have to adapt fast to teach these kids the skills they need to live in a professional world where your career might have to leverage AI. And a lot of these schools, or at least early on, were like anti-AI, but I think a lot of them are starting to adopt it really quickly because I think you need to learn how to use AI in whatever job it might be. Like my electrician friend down the block, he's like, yeah, nobody's going to replace me. I'm like, I just saw a friend literally it's not a plumber, but he basically having a problem with his sun pump. And he opened up his ChatGPT app. He was doing a live video with it. He's like, how do I fix this problem? And he gave him step-by-step directions on how to fix the problem. I mean, people could just, it's insane. I used to watch videos on how to do that on YouTube, but now you get that with ChatGPT. Will there be like sophisticated robots that do it for you, come to your house, knock on your door, I'm here to fix your sink? I mean, they have robot lawn care now that, do your lawn with robotics and electric lawn machines that scan your lawn, figure out how quick it would be, and then they send them out and they handle it all by themselves. Of course, you have something one human instead of 5 humans maybe coming out to your property every week to just make sure everything's good and do a little snip here and snip there. So I think no job is really that safe when it comes to AI, and I'm not really sure what to tell my kids. I don't know. I just tried to make as much money as possible so that I could leave some over to them so they could be okay in the future.
You're a good dad, Barry.
Yeah.
That's a great plan. And I think there's also the notion of Jevons paradox. As we create more complexity, there's just going to be more to do. And we've kind of seen that, right? Like a lot of software is really just automating, and yet it's created this whole new industry, whole new creative industry. Many people blogging and publishing, YouTubers, podcasts, all these things, new roles in corporate America, digital marketing roles, pay-per-click roles, all these things. So we'll see to the extent new jobs and new, maybe prompt engineers and other areas are created as we're kind of automating away maybe a lot of that low-level blocking and tackling work, right? And on my optimistic days, I think humans will figure it out, and it will be this great future where no one has to do busy work, and humans get to do the creative work, and the machines do the machine work. That's kind of like the optimistic timeline. But I think no matter what happens, there'll be this period of, even if there's not like widespread unemployment, it'll just be a little uncertainty with hiring and careers, and I think we'll work through it. I actually think it's going to be okay, because we're at what point does society create new technology that benefits all these people? That's like bad, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a new nuclear bomb. It's not going to blow up the world. I'm not an AI doomer. I think we figure out what to do with it.
I agree. I do think we'll be okay. I think the kids will find jobs. I think, like you said, we've seen this in multiple revolutions over the years. So I think we'll be okay. And I don't know. I'm just my personality is I just love new toys. I buy stuff all the time. I use it a bunch of times and then leave it in the cabinet until I get the new one. So I love these new toys. And I think all we could do is encourage our kids to use it in a responsible way and see how they'll come up with new ideas. They'll figure out what to do with it. And I think that's going to lead to the new jobs that we have with it, I think, in the future.
Yeah. We hope AI can solve all of the political problems, and that would be great too. So hopefully it gets there and no one's fighting over politics or things like that. Barry, this has been awesome talking to you. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll put links to connect in the show description, but tell people who are just listening where they should go to connect.
I mean, the easiest thing is I use my handle Rusty Brick, RUSTYBRCK, across pretty much every single social channel. I'm not on TikTok, so you won't see me dancing, but everywhere else, pretty much, I'll be around. And I don't know when this thing is coming out. Is it coming out soon?
No. We will put it out in the near future. So
okay, well, there's going to be XMX Advanced on June 11th, 12th, something like that, 12th and 13th. So if you're in Boston, definitely see me in person in real life. Otherwise, yeah, I'll catch you online. Maybe an AI version of me.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you next week.